Guys, welcome to TribeTalk. Today we are going to be talking with Chris and Sarah. Welcome.
Happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, today we're actually going to be talking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We hope all of you guys did really awesome and made a ton of money. And we're just going to be debriefing from that, like some of the things we experienced, and then just diving into some specifics of what happened during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So before we dive into the specifics, are there any like call outs that you guys have for some things that you've saw?
So I was going to say, I feel like every year that the online sales start earlier, and the people launch their sales earlier. And this year, I want to say that like the weekend before is when I saw a lot of things launching, which I think is really interesting. I mean, because it's also a shorter shopping season. So I'm sure that's probably had something to do with it. But just every year, I feel like they just creep earlier and earlier and earlier online.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that too. There was a ton of deals earlier, which I appreciate as a shopper for sure. That's cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I think that's an interesting point too, because we all know like the Facebook, Instagram algorithm, they like time and conversion events. So with some of these deals that are just maybe 12 or 24 hours, it's harder to launch ads and then kind of let things optimize. Whereas if you're running a deal for a little bit longer, I think that's beneficial to the merchant. Yeah, for me, so we know the deals are coming a little bit earlier compared to when Black Friday was, but everybody knows that Black Friday this year was pretty late in the month and Thanksgiving itself. So something interesting I'm seeing now is that we're already like in the first week of December and closing out the first week of December, and a lot of brands' last ship dates are coming up. And so most of the time, or most years, we have enough time to kind of get a new promo running, get something before the last ship date. And we're seeing that that's already like we're already there. If we don't have any kind of downtime, it's like we're going to be seeing sales again because last ship dates will be coming. So we're kind of seeing brands kind of getting ready for that and kind of scrambling to get those promos out right after the Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It feels like it was just like yesterday. I mean, it was last week, but it feels like it's just ended. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. No downtime. Just go, go, go. Get those sales. Awesome. Well, I guess we'll start off. We're going to start talking about Shopify. I feel like, Chris, every time you're on Tribe Talk, we talk about Shopify. So I think you're like our official Shopify guy here.
I love Shopify, so I don't mind. Yeah, so this will be specific to our e-com brands that are listening, not necessarily any of our lead gen, but every year Shopify puts out they call it like a data stories. So when Black Friday and Cyber Monday are actually happening, they have a live map of like when actual orders are coming in, and they're just kind of like pings. So they're showing you what's kind of happening. Super cool. And it's very interesting to look at. I was trying to find it like online now, but I think they take it off. It's only like it happens live. But they do put out a lot of the data that has happened from Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So there's a couple things in here that I thought was really interesting to just point out for this Tribe Talk. So we can link, I think we can link in the show notes like what the actual link is that they have. It's called datastories.shopify.com. And one of the things that they point out is in their last earnings call, Shopify actually has over 1 million merchants now. And over this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they did $2.9 billion over the course of those 4 or 5 days, which was up last year from $1.8 billion. So it's almost close to double. And the story for me is like, yes, big numbers, big amounts of revenue, no matter how much money you spend in advertising or however that works. But it's really that Shopify is like enabling these brands to go direct to consumer that we just like haven't seen, I think, in the past. Yeah, there has been other e-commerce platforms, but it's just making it easier and easier for people to become merchants and for these brands to grow kind of organically and on their own versus like what we saw on Amazon, right? Where you could just kind of grow your business on a marketplace that was just based on price or reviews. Whereas now Shopify is enabling these brands to differentiate themselves and like be their own brand to sell online and like kind of focus on that. And the numbers are kind of bearing that out. I mean, that's just a crazy amount of revenue that you're seeing just year over year growth. It's crazy. One other thing I thought was pretty interesting too is they said over the last 4 or 5 days, the average order value for all of their stores combined. So in the US, their average order value was about $83 per order, with Canada being the highest, which was $96. But the reason I point that out is because we work with a lot of clients, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that are trying to sell direct where their average order value might be below $20. And it's a good kind of benchmark to say, like, this is sort of maybe something to strive for, or understand where you are kind of in that ladder there. Because if you think about it, right, if your average order value is $20 and the average order value of all merchants is 80, like, you have to sell 4 times the amount of stuff just to get the same amount of revenue. So there's definitely something to be said there to kind of understand where you are in that kind of scale and trying to figure out how you can increase your average order value from that. So, and if you think about it, those are $80 after discounts. So most of the average order value of merchants is a little bit higher, because generally speaking, it'd be before discounts when people are selling the rest of the year. So that's what I had to say. You can take a look at the data story of Shopify, but I think it's pretty interesting, and we're just seeing those metrics like are kind of bearing it out and saying that this is possible, and there are lots of brands that are doing this and going direct and building differentiated brands.
Wow, thanks, Chris. Yeah, that's super important. Average order value, like thinking through that. So that's great. That's a great point there. What about you, Sarah? I hear you're going to talk to us about mobile.
Yeah.
What happened on mobile this Black Friday, Cyber Monday?
So I got a lot of things happen on mobile this Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So, I think it kind of piggybacks off something Chris was talking about, and just how overall consumer behavior, it has been changing. We talked about the end of the decade is coming, right? And the beginning of the decade, the thing to do on Black Friday was to get up super early or at midnight and go wait in line somewhere, right? And you go get your deals and you go get your doorbusters, and that was the majority of the consumer shopping behavior. And now we don't see that, right? Now we see somebody maybe eating a slice of pie, watching The Mandalorian on their mobile device, and they're looking through their email at what's coming in, or they're scrolling Instagram to see the different deals. And that's the consumer behavior that's the trend year over year we've been moving to. So this year, Adobe reported on sales, not only from Shopify, but from other big box retailers, saying that about 45% of all sales on Black Friday happened on a mobile device, and that 61% of all browsing traffic occurred on a mobile device. So that basically is saying, if they were on desktop purchasing, but there's a really high likelihood that they were also on your mobile device as well. And so there wasn't just like a lot of traffic, but just this entire shopping season, this is an interesting number that TechCrunch is talking about, that about $18.2 billion have occurred on a smartphone. And on Cyber Monday, mobile sales made up $3 billion, which is about 33%, so a third of all sales. So with that being said, it's something that we can't discount. And in terms of like that behavior consumers, right, we have to also think of things in a multi-touch scenario, right? People are not just necessarily going to go to your website and purchase. We love it when that happens, but it's not only a multi-channel process, it's a multi-device process, right? Somebody's maybe going to look at your email on their mobile device and then go over to your website, leave, then maybe come back on your desktop and look, and then maybe they leave and then maybe see you again in an ad. And so for us, I think it's important, especially whenever we're talking about building brands and building our websites, so we don't look at things in silos, right? Like it's not, here's your mobile site, here's your desktop site, here's email, here's this, but we think of it really cohesively as something that's going to work together, because there's a high likelihood that someone is going to be on more than one of those before they actually purchase from you.
Yeah, that's so true. Like you don't actually, a lot of people maybe browse on their phone, but then they hop over to their desktop once they're home and feel comfortable doing that. That's awesome. I heard like smartphone growth up 46%. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. And thank you guys for tuning in.